Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope we are doing fine. It's 9 a.m. here. I'm sure it's 3 p.m. some places. We're starting just about now. Our uh, our anchor is coming on board, but I just instead of just keeping us quiet there, I hope we're doing well. How are we doing today? Um, how's it going with everyone? Just drop in the chat box your first name, where you are dialing in from, and just a word on how you're feeling. It could be a letter, it could be a phrase, it could be let's put in there, how you're feeling, elated, excited, hungry, however you're feeling, please just drop in there. Um, just let us know where you are dialing in from. Let's know how you're feeling. All right, awesome. Yes, Fumi, go ahead. How you feel?
Hi, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me. Hello.
Yes, we
I
can.
can hear you.
Oh,
I can hear you clearly.
thank you. Yes, please. I like to have feedback each time. Thank you for joining us. It's morning here, my time, and so I will say good morning and good day to you wherever you're joining from. Like Imole has rightly said, please drop in the chat box where you're joining from. We like to identify you and your location. And please, I beg you to please take away all distractions at this time. It's just going to be about 55 minutes now to the end of this. And I want you to have all that you can get in this short time. Of course, the webinar will not exhaust everything about the topic, but at least you have an idea what it's going to be like if you eventually decide to take the course eventually. So let's see where you're joining us from. Um, we would also have room for questions and answer. So I'm sure some of you already have questions even before we started because the topic itself is something that is a buzzword in the world of work. And I'd like you to please take note of your question. We will do as much as we can to accommodate a good number of questions. But even afterwards, if we are not able to accommodate your question, please feel free. We'll put our details down and then we can take it further out of here. We have veterans, permit me to use the word, people that are not babies in the world of work. Personally, it's a privilege for me because to be anchoring a section like this with the likes of SA, he has given me an instruction not to use sir. And I know that even here in Canada, when you use sir, it can be termed as you being sarcastic or being rude. Whereas back from where I come from, it's a sign of reference, it's a sign of reverence, it's a sign of regard. Um, it is still the month to celebrate women, and in my delight and to the delight of everyone, we have one of our panelists, a I don't know how to quantify her. If you were a Christian, you understand when John the Baptist said, "Oh, if someone is coming whose shoelace I'm not able to tie." Permit me to use that. So we have Yetunde on the call too. She didn't say I should not use ma, but I'll use YA. And Imole too is all with us today, and he'll be chipping in one or two things as we go along. Um, Yes, I think I'm seeing people. I don't know why Olubumi Akimbi's hand is raised, but I'm not able to take your question at this time. If you have issues with connecting or maybe you can hear us, I would suggest that you log out and then log in again. It usually work. If anyone is having issue hearing us or listening to what we are saying, please log in and log out and log in. Thank you. I think it's a good time for us to begin because we are time conscious. And for people who are taking training at Luminous, you will know that when we say we keep to time, we keep to time. We are people of integrity and we keep to our word. We have a good number. If you know anyone that is supposed to be on this call, see, you can't always buy gifts for people, but when you send links like this to people, it's a gift. and it goes a long way. Money cannot buy it. It just shows that you have people's interest at heart. Are you someone here and you're a mentor to people, or you are a coach? Please share this link. Let them just benefit from this wealth of knowledge. And you know what? It's even free, You didn't pay any dime for this, and I know that it will be value for your time at the end of the day. Imola, I believe I'm going to now start with reading the profile of our speakers, right? Okay, so Toby, please, can we have it display on the screen or something? Or I have to read from here? Okay, let me just read. So because of time, we have to compress these profiles. These people we have on the call, let me not just blow their trumpet for them. By the time they speak, you will understand that, oh, we must have compressed the profile. So I will start with Shegun Akiode. You can also call him SA. I think he likes it, sir. But SA is sir, right? Say or sir. So I start with Shegun Akiode. Shegun Akiode is a versatile professional with a background in chemical engineering. Can you beat that? Okay. And a passion for teaching. Excuse me, I'll take that again. Shegun Akiode is a versatile, thank you, is a versatile professional with a background in chemical engineering and a passion for teaching. As an Udemy instructor, he has taught over 11,500 students worldwide. As a video content creator on YouTube, he has garnered more than 13,500 subscribers. I think I'm still struggling with less than 50. Okay, you will cut soap for me. He has taught over 11,500 students, okay? And then more than 13,500 subscribers. Currently, he's based in London, United Kingdom. Shegun also serves as rewards manager. In his pursuit of becoming a thought leader in human resources, Shegun specializes in total rewards management and HR data analytics. With over a decade of experience, he has worked across various industries, including FMCGs, healthcare, information technology, oil and gas, financial services, supply chain, and marketing communications. Shegun is dedicated to knowledge sharing, personal development, and leaving a meaningful impact on his generation, aspiring to leave a lasting legacy in the field. And that is why we have him on this call today. Please, can we make welcome essay with virtual applause, emojis, love upon
Welcome,
him.
SA. Welcome,
Yeah.
SA, to the field. We welcome you. Thank you very
We
much.
hear
Thank you
you.
for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I know a lot of people on this call. If I'm going to unmute and let people speak, they will say, "Oh, I've taken Shegun's training one time. I've been in his physical class. I've done one or two things." So he's not a stranger on this call. We have the second person, Yetunde Adeniyi. Yetunde Adeniyi he brings over a decade of diverse experience in human resource. Okay, can you see the beautiful smile? Oh my God. You know, I think you're looking. Let me just read the profile. I have a lot of things to say, and I have limited time. Yetunde brings over a decade of diverse experience in human resources, spanning multiple industries across Canada and Nigeria, including financial services, telecommunications, technology, retail, and public sector. Our experience lies at the intersection of HR and analytics. Please take note of that. With a focus on translating data into actionable insights. Please don't just list his profile, but please be taking notes. She's focused on translating data into actionable insights, particularly in areas like diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our passion lies in empowering HR teams through the use of AI analytics, insight, and storytelling to drive positive organizational change. Yesterday's approach combines technical analytics skills with a deep in understanding of human resources, making our contribution both innovative and practical in improving organizational practices. Please, do I need to even say again? Yes, the applause is already coming. And look at her smile. Is that your smile? I don't know. As when we finish, you let me, please, you teach me how to do that smile. Like, then we have Imole. Imole is like we already know him, but I will not deny him of his right. Imole Ashogmo is a distinguished figure in the world of human resource, known for his unwavering dedication to transforming organizations and empowering professionals to excel in their careers. Imole Ayo has carved a niche for himself as a trusted advisor and catalyst for growth. Um, Coaching world-class leaders while working for Fortune 500 companies. Imole Ayo's outstanding career profile showcases his expertise, passion for HR, and unwavering commitment to making positive impact on organizations and individuals alike. With his visionary leadership and relentless pursuit of excellence, he continues to shape the future of HR, inspiring professionals to unlock their full potential and drive sustainable success in the ever evolving business landscape. Please let's make welcome Imole Ayo. It's not Imole, it's Imole Ayo. If you don't call the name in full, you may not get the meaning, you know. So for people who don't speak our native language, Imole Ayo means um a light of joy. I think literally a light of joy, a light that illuminates with joy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. It's good to be here. More, you have to smile,
Alrighty.
bro. I beg. It's time, madam.
Okay, thank you everyone, and that's all for our introduction. It's a compressed version of all their profiles, and we will dive in straight away into today's chat. It's a webinar, but just relax. You can have your note or your notepad, your phone or something, but it's just going to be like a conversation because we don't want all these serious things that make people feel like, oh, it's important, but we need you to understand that you can learn in a very relaxed atmosphere. In fact, learning with data, if I ask SK and I will tell you that data has it that the way pastors talk, that the scripture says, once essay will talk, we say data has it that. Let's wait and see. So I would give the floor to essay to have if like a brief introduction of this topic that we are discussing today: data analytics, AI, the future of work. Briefly touch points, and then we'll take the conversation from there. After that, I would have Yetunde take our introduction as well. Happy learning.
Um, Sometimes technology can be very interesting. So I was clicking my mic and it decided not to talk. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a great day today. It's afternoon here. I'm sure it's morning somewhere else. I like to start with an intriguing one. Without data, you're just another person with an opinion. Sometimes when you're sharing information, you need to back it up with data. I'm sure most of the time, in this world of social media and even in the world of work, so many things are changing. They say that data is the new oil, which means from the business side of things, you need to start to think data. As HR professionals, it's not the period where you need to now talk about gut feeling. You need to back it up with something because organizations want to take decisions. Organizations want to take care of the business. There's a decision that needs to be made, and you need to make a justification for it as a business, as an HR professional. So it's very critical that HR data analytics has to do with the ability to use people data, analyze the people data, and make justification to back up business decisions. So it's not going to be a function of gut feeling anymore. It's not going to be something well researched. There's evidence to show, and nobody argues with data. So if I tell us that 50% of the individuals in this room are female, You would argue with me and say, sorry, what are you talking about? But if I pull out the attendance list for this room and I tell you that 50% is actually females, you're not going to argue with that. But if I tell you that 70% of HR professionals are female in Nigeria, everybody argues it. But have you gone to attend a chartered list of personnel managers in Nigeria's induction session? You will notice that every one of them are females. Now, because I'm talking about data now, everybody starts to light up. And I tell you that from a reward standpoint, giving cash alone is not going to retain your employees. You need to do more than giving cash. Why? Because data sources show that even according to psychological needs of individuals, you can only like money to a certain point. Somebody else will give a better money. So that is where initiative around engagement now starts to come in. What have I done in a short time? I've been able to bring it to you that without data, you're just another person with an opinion. And for business decisions to be taken, you can't just be saying we need to increase employees' pay. No. What do? You do a salary survey. You back up your decision with something. Employees are not engaged. What do? You do an engagement survey. You're trying to recruit for employees and you're saying, why should we do LinkedIn advertising? Do we do this? And somebody comes and says, sorry, do you know the best way to get quality employees is via referrals? Yes, you heard me right. The best way to get quality employees is referrals. A good person will refer another good person. Why do organizations do referral programs? That's the simple reason why they do referral programs. Because it has been found out by talent acquisition experts that the highest way to get individuals is via data. So what have I done in this few time? Just to tell you that without data, you're just another person with an opinion. Thank you.
Word.
Round of applause. Like, I just need you to drop the emoji. I don't want to start to announce, like, now you are getting the vibe. Me, I already have a quote and it's going on my LinkedIn. Permission to post. You are just another person with an opinion without data. See, I have a pen. I'm not just moderating. I'm learning as well. I hope you are. Yes. Can I have Yetunde
So
now?
let me.
Thank you.
That quote is not my original quote. It was Edward Deming that
Thank
said
you.
that.
Okay. I already come and say I already pushed
Come on.
Aki. Oh my God. Thank you, Edward Deming. Thank you for that. And it's still part of being a professional. You don't take people's credit when you use what they have written or what they have said. It's a professional way of doing things. Yetunde, please.
Can you hear me clearly?
Very perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to ride on what SA had just said. The career world is a very competitive place or world, and like with technology advancement every minute, you have to upskill yourself. You have to differentiate yourself. And honestly, one of the ways you can differentiate yourself is this area of data analytics. Because within an organization, there are different people with diverse opinions. But at the end of the day, it's how do you differentiate yourself? How do you back up your points? And that's where data comes from, because data is basically facts. It is facts. So I'm not basically going to have conversations from like my gut feelings. I've had meetings with directors before, and I'm like, oh, people are not happy. It's like, how do you know people are not happy? Because data says that, or an organization is trying to change a policy, and you're coming from like, I don't think we should change this policy. Why? Because this is what the data is showing. And a very simple example is, I've worked in an organization that one of the policies that was implemented is to have employees to have like flexible timing, wherein when you resume at this time, you can close at this time. And then at some point in time, after a while, the director felt like, let's revert to everybody having a uniform time, resume by this time, close by this time. But rather than going to say, people are not going to be happy about that, it was basically going to meet the tech team to say, can you pull data for me to know how many calls comes in at this point in time? at 8 o'clock, and then how many calls comes in at this time. Then the data basically showing between 8 and 8:30, we're not really having calls coming in. So when you tell people to come in by 8 o'clock, they're just coming to faff around. And then when you calculate from like a cost perspective, because that's what the business wants to hear, like in cost perspective, in dollars, in naira, that's how you make the difference. And then when you now think about your processes, as HR people, I want to like a lot of us here HR people, we do a lot of paper, a lot of memos, a lot of writing and stuff, processes, and like employees asking questions, coming to meet us about what does this policy mean? What does this policy mean? When you now think about things from like an AI perspective, how you can improve your process efficiency, you're able to like focus more on creating value to the business rather than doing like repetitive tasks. And those are some of the conversations we're going to be having today. But like that's just like set the ground for like, what is expected during this conversation. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Yetunde. We have this cliche, or is it a trend? Like, if you don't have evidence, you will explain.
Tire.
Explain.
I will explain tire.
That is what Yetunde just said. If you don't have the facts, you say people are not engaged. How do you know? It could be something else now. Maybe they just have issues with their marriage. Maybe they have just been served breakfast. It may not be work, So if you don't have the data, you don't have the evidence, it goes back to you will explain. You will explain. May we not explain, tire. I will not let Imole have an introduction.
Oh, why now?
Okay, Imole, please go. Please go. Please go ahead.
Well, I won't delve into the introduction. I mean, both of them have said very, very important things about data. I'm just going to introduce the skill of data storytelling into the mix, right? And for me, data storytelling is like removing the noise and focusing on people's attention on the key insights, right? I mean, what this really means is using relevant data, HR data analytics to weave a compelling narrative, you understand, from data that can powerfully influence executive decision and drive organizational change. So if you want any organizational change, if you want any drastic transformational change, you have to be able to remove the noise, focus on the people-centric elements, and tell a story that makes sense. You want them to invest in this tool. You want them to increase compensation. You want them to change how you have to be able to tell that story with data, right? So, I mean, it's one thing having the data, and there's a lot of noise. The data has to be usable, scalable. But more importantly, the executive doesn't have 5 hours to sit down with you or to read all your story. You have to use it. You have to be able to use it to tell compelling stories that is able to generate the desired action. I think that'll just be my own introduction part of my own answer today.
Thank you, Imole. What's wrong with me? How dare me want to deny you of introducing the topic? The takeaway from Imole is like, do storytelling. People don't want to read long stories again. And just as we all know, professionals, when you present your report and you have the graphs, you have the pie charts, you have the fishbone, you have all of those things, you get people's attention more. I'm speaking from experience, more than just presenting a Word document or a PDF document of 3 pages. You can summarize those 3 pages in a chart, maybe bar chart, whatever you want to use, and then you are getting the attention. You are saying this is just saying we have 30, and just like that. So, one thing I am not very sure of, and I think that people on this call too are also thinking, data analytics. I've not finished doing HR. I will add data. I will add AI. I'm scared. Do I need to go to get a degree to take this course? Like, do I need to do another degree, like a diploma or something? It's very expensive in this part of the world to even go to school. Like, you're paying in dollars and it's a lot of money and all of that. And then I know that there are so many misconceptions about data. Like, I would let SA deal with this, because people feel like, data analytics is a very big, like, People just want to shy away from it, like I'll get to it later, I'll get to it, because they think it's so huge. Like, so can you just give us some misconceptions, myth about data analytics, AI, that let's just know so that we can embrace this data analytics?
Okay. I like the point you started from. So naturally, I think it dates back to secondary school and primary school. If you're in this room and you dislike your secondary school teacher, your math teacher, you can raise your hand. All of our hands are up. Simply because they made it look difficult. I remember one of the reasons why I didn't like physics, for example, which is a base calculation also, was because my lecturer or my teacher in secondary school usually used us to go and sell soap. So he does physics. So in the physics lab, he will leave us outside and he will go inside. Uncle K, I can still remember his name. If you're in this room, I'm sorry, it's not personal. But the approach to the way it was taught makes a lot of people to dislike it. Now let's take it into HR. Human resources, everybody feels that an HR person should be human. No doubt, there is an human part to HR. But when we now start talking about data analytics, let's break it down. You employing employees into the organization is a form of data. You getting your employee information form, your name, those are data in themselves. Now, when you now start to analyze and say, so how many people do we have? You're counting the numbers of people you have within an organization. You're doing what we call numeric values. It's a base measure. Now, because I use a technical word for it, it looks complex, but it's simple arithmetic. Just add and subtract. And most of us have money, right? If I give you 100 quid now, 100 quid is 100 pounds. And I tell you to tell me how you're going to spend an 100 pound or 100 Canadian dollars or $100, everybody will get their pen and paper and tell me how I'm going to spend it. Nobody misses their money when they are looking for it. That's the same thing with analytics. Because we call it a big buzzword, everybody feels it's something serious. Honestly, analytics, you don't need, a misconception is I need complex Excel knowledge is a lie. I stand to tell you, you don't need complex Excel knowledge, because you're not, as an HR professional, you are not planning to become a guru, as it were, but you want to be able to tell a data story around what you're doing. You want to be able to have a compelling story. They said a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. If you display a picture now, and I tell you to tell me what you see in that picture, that's exactly what data is. When you take your data, you analyze your data, you cannot be able to interpret it and be able to get trends in your data. So take, for example, how many individuals in this room are millennials? I don't know whether you know, there is a research saying that in the next 5 to 10 years, the millennials and the Gen Zs that are complaining about the Gen X and the baby boomers will be the main managers in the workplace. So what they think that the Gen X are doing to them now, that is exactly what happened between the Gen Zs and the millennials, because they are conflicting within themselves. How did I know that? I got to know that by data. That's a simple analogy. And that's why we're talking about the future of work, remote work. I want to work on my own terms. It's just because of data. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber today. They want to be a content creator. Why do I know that? Data. Now do you bring that into the workplace as an HR professional? You now design a workplace that is now engaging for your demographics. So what I've been able to do to you is that analytics is not complex. It's simple base measure that you now start to analyze to be able to justify what you're trying to do. Yes, there's a need to learn Excel, but you don't need complex Excel. As a matter of fact, you don't need to go to a school to learn it. Interestingly, Luminous has a data analytics course for HR professionals. I'm sure maybe I'm jumping the gun. You get to know about that later. But the reality is about it is that you can learn anywhere. It's free now. Yes, you can learn on YouTube. Yes, it's good. You can learn on YouTube, learn on Udemy. But sometimes when you learn from individuals that are having hands-on experience, your learning is faster. So you don't need to go to the four walls of the university anymore. There are lots of courses online that you can actually learn the structure around it. And there are different levels to it. There's a data analyst, there is data science, there is AI machine learning, which I know Yetunde is the field. I think Yetunde can demystify the word of AI for us. I'll hand over to Yetunde now. Yetunde, demystify AI. Everybody's afraid.
AI is taking our work here today. Is that true?
Okay, before
Uh,
Yetunde goes, please, a bit of housekeeping. If you are not speaking, which I know you are not speaking to everybody here, can you please um mute, because we have some feedback from background noises. I don't want to get to hear that you are cooking jollof rice, because those are the kind of conversations we hear on Saturday morning. Yesterday, please go ahead.
okay, so I know there's a very like a lot of us must have heard AI is taking your job. But like honestly, AI isn't taking your job, but someone with AI skills might take your job. And that's the truth about it. I was having a conversation yesterday and I was saying there's so much, out all around news and internet and all about AI. But it is, how do you apply it? Do you think like this thing is just a sham? Is like a wave, you see, the trend, it's going to come and go. It's not. And even for me, I think I just, actually a lot of us have this Amazon device at home. And then my kids are particularly into Alexa, what is this? Alexa, what is that? You know, my daughter is doing math someday. She's like, Alexa, what is this? I'm like, what? Remove the cable and use, and think about your math by yourself. But like honestly, that was what got me interested. Like, let me even understand this thing, because the truth is it's not going anywhere. And it's a skill that we need to develop, because I was giving an example of how you can use it to, like, improve your processes at work. And this is how, like, I'm sure a lot of us know about Gen AI, ChatGPT is like a generative AI. When basically it's not complex, it's just like you're having conversation, with someone, but like this time around, it's like a machine, you know. And the truth is, when we look at how Gen AI is going to transform our work, or the work space, the future of work, it's in different categories. There are ways that Gen AI is going to, those roles are going to be automated. There are ways that Gen AI is going to augment your work. And when I say augment your work, it's like when you look at a software engineer that has skills, you can use Gen AI to like debug some of your codes that has errors to know what's causing that. When I talk about how it's going to automate your work, think about an HR person. I've worked in HR before, in like a role, performance management in HR, handling performance reviews. And during those periods, it's like everybody has a question. It's either the performance software isn't working, or my KPI is not loaded correct. Like you are, and like sometimes you're answering that same question like over and over and over again. So for me, and I always try to look at how do I make my work, I don't know about you, how do I make my work easier for me? So at that point, I'm like creating FAQs, so that when somebody sends me those emails, I just forward the FAQ to you. So think about that in relating to what you do right now. Creating a chatbot, for example, that answers those questions. So rather than somebody coming to ask you those questions, it's like it's a chatbot they're chatting with. So as an HR person, it's going to transform our role to moving us to like more of like a career coach and a strategic business partner to the business, rather than transactional work that we spend a lot of time doing. I don't know about you, but like sometimes I know a lot of people like to engage, but like when you're repeating the same thing over and over again, those are ways that you need to start looking at your role and know that, yeah, AI is going to take those kind of like roles. But like when you have those skills, that is how you differentiate yourself really in the future of work.
Thank, thank you, Yetunde. So at least I know that people's mind are at rest now. AI is not coming to steal your job. You just need AI skill to retain your job, and then to be better, to be your own personal selling point. So what do you have that others don't have? I have the AI skills, I have data analytics and all that. Yes, so when Essay was talking about the myth and misconception, he mentioned that if he gives me £100, what will I do with it? £10 I'm going to use for tithe. I'm taking £30 to Winners to buy some stuff. So I'm sending £20 to my mom,
You
and then
started doing analytics on the money.
£30 for my shoe, and then I'll save £10. So I have given you the data, how I'm going to use it. Please, you will transfer. I have Interact email. That's on the side. Since I have the data, I think I will get the £100. Please,
Yeah.
can you help me appreciate Essie?
Okay.
It's giving me £10 after this call.
Thank you,
Yes.
£10.
100.
100.
He said
Oh,
10.
fee over. No,
He
no.
said
If you look at
10.
my
He
data, I
said
can't
10.
explain. If you look at my
10.
data,
Receive,
my
10.
data gives
Receive
you
10.
£100. I said 10, but the data I broke, I put in this thing for you is 100. I apologize. £10 for tithes. I was just concerned with the tithes. Okay, yes, let's quickly delve into. I have this question, and please, I would like you to take it again, Yetunde. So we say AI, chat GPT, a lot of times, because I'm in the educational space, one of the challenges we have had is students, you give them assignment and you are reading, you want to grade, you can tell that no, this is not human writing. The grammars are so complex. For example, I have given you, like, do me a 5-year plan of what you want to do, and then I've given you parameters I want to grade, things I want to review in your book, in your essay, and then I'm saying, they, they are not. I can't. It doesn't look like I'm reading from my students. I have developed a kind of relationship with them, and sometimes I now go back to class and I'm like, okay, yeah, you said in your assignment that you're going to do this in year 3. How do you want to get there? And they are looking like, did I say that? Like, they can't even remember because ChatGPT has written something for them. Are there risks to these things? And you mentioned too, like your children, they want to ask Alexa everything. Like, how old is mommy? They have been asking me, mommy, how old are you? How old is daddy? And I like, go and ask Alexa. And they're asking Alexa, and Alexa will say something like, sorry, I don't know that. Alexa can be very silly sometimes, but I will let you answer the question.
So honestly, when we look at these AI platforms, they are basically they're not meant to take over how we think or how we analyze things. They are basically meant to basically use it like like supporting what you're doing. So and I always say that that's where your knowledge and skills comes to play, because if I put something in ChatGPT, you won't you won't put the same thing, because the way I will coin what I want to put will be different. And that's where the strategic thinking and mindset comes to play. So it's not meant to be garbage in, garbage out. Because honestly, ChatGPT is giving you what it's crawling from, like, the internet as well, what other people have put there. So how do you put that your unique taste into what what you're using it for? So it's meant to help, not to take over everything, wherein you're just not doing anything. You're just basically saying, ChatGPT, go and write this thing for me, and then you take it out and paste it like that. No, it's meant to help you think, oh, this is a way of thinking, looking at these things. And then when you use it as well, I'll give an example. I'm trying to get something on ChatGPT, and I'm thinking of the simplest thing, like, write me maybe an article or something. I'm like, oh, and then it gives me the way I would coin it, which is what they call prompt engineering. The way you would coin your prompt is it would even differentiate the level of output it's going to give you. Because I can go into ChatGPT and say, oh, write me an article about AI in HR. And it'll give me something. And I can go in and say, write me an article about how AI has transformed the HR industry over a period of, 3 to 4 years. looking at it, breaking it down by different areas in HR. That's different from like write me, like what the output is going to give you is different, you know. And then when you bring it out as well, you're now trying to like, okay, how do I make this my own? You know, so we need to understand that, and that's why a lot, because of the risk associated with it, that's why also some organizations block ChatGPT on your personal or like on your office laptop, because the data you put in it as well, it's like, just know that like whatever you put in it is also available to anybody to like, because like I said, it's crawling all the information. So that's why organizations block it, because they don't want you to put like organization data into like an open source, you know. So basically, but we're meant to like apply ourselves and try to like, it's like you write something, you cook something and you want to make it different. Like, how do I make this one like my own recipe or my own, you know, unique style, basically.
Okay, thank you. Making it your own unique style. So AI is not to make our brain useless or make us lazy. You still need to do the right thing and then just get assistance from from AI. I say from HR. We're always looking for assistance with HR from AI. Yes, essay, please. I like you mentioned, and I was really glad that I don't need to take the big or the almighty detailed or premium Excel to do data, to do analytics. I just need a bit of it. So, you know, on the call, I want to believe, if I pull the data, let me talk like you. If I pull the data, I think we have over 80% of people on this call as HR professionals. So I need specific areas where you think this data analytics would be useful. Because, for example, I'm looking at going into EDIB equity. Do I even need data there? Or I know performance management, which I did or I used to do. I needed data, I need analytics and all of that. But are there other areas of human resource so that we can connect with our audience? Like we are saying that there's a course with Luminous. Why would I want to take it? I'm just a recruiter. Do I really need the analytics?
Okay.
So with practical examples of areas in human resources, and then peradventure other 20% of the people on this call, they are not even in HR, they are professionals. In what way does this affect or improve their work? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. At my introduction, I said that data analytics generally has to do with using data to inform decisions. Now, we're dealing with business decisions. We're dealing with HR on one side. When you apply analytics or data analytics to HR, we have it as HR data analytics. When you apply it to finance, we have finance data analytics. When you apply it to health, interestingly, yes, it's been applied to health now, then you have health analytics. There are different areas. There's marketing analytics, there's customer management, customer experience analytics. As simple as, I know a particular bank in Nigeria did this some time ago. When you walk into the bank, they check the time you walked in and when you go out to receive service. And they use that to measure the service level in terms of how. Some organizations also do that when you are responding to emails, customer emails. Now, when it comes to HR, that's beginning to come into HR now. So, to recruitment, I gave a recruitment example. So, what's our time to hire? That's a simple metric in HR. Now, why do organizations measure the time it takes them to get a new hire? Because for every time the position is vacant, the organization is losing money because someone else is doing that job that someone should be doing. So they check the time to hire. Why the organization check turnover? So when people are leaving the organization, why do we have to check turnover? Because the ability to retain employees is also part of being an employer of choice as an organization. If you're looking at performance, so there's a lot of stories around the bell curve in HR when it comes to performance. Why do you do the bell curve? It's because we're trying to check, because the bell curve is a normal distribution, is a little bit of a statistical term that says that majority of everybody will be within the average limit, and some will be the lower level at the lower end and at above the end. That's the normal that you expect. The last time I used the bell curve on a performance evaluation within an organization, I found out that everybody was above on the excellent range. And it already spoke to us that there is a problem with the performance management system. Even in diversity and inclusion, D&I, we want to look at the numbers of inclusion we are doing within the organization. You need to pull out the data from there. Are we recruiting a certain number of females than male in a particular in terms of race diversity? That's examples of all of that. So the entire HR life cycle or the employee life cycle, from recruitment, retention, to onboarding, to exit, there are data sources. As a matter of fact, there's what we call quantitative data and qualitative data. Because there is a data source, if we are done with this survey, with this webinar, and we do a pulse survey to, or what we call your MPS. So how can you recommend this webinar to someone else? Just by picking a data source from there, we're gathering data. So anytime you're doing anything in HR and the data, either quantitative or qualitative, is involved, data analytics is there to help you. And interestingly, when it now comes to AI or artificial intelligence, it is even making life easy. Why did I say you don't really need complex Excel? You only need to know the formulas in Excel and the areas of Excel to make your work better. Recently, not too long ago, Microsoft launched an excellent feature in Excel called Analyze Data. What does it do? Bring your data into Microsoft Excel, click on the Analyze Data, and it does a pivot table for you. It does your charts for you. And boom, you're good. Now, but there's also the part where you need to learn the rudiment. And as an HR professional, depending on which level of HR or which spectrum of HR you are, I will explain it in 3 brackets. If you're an entry-level HR person, please take analytics serious, because if you're going to go far within the organization, you need the analytics skill. I mean, solid analytics skill. If you're at the middle level and upper level, you need to understand what is happening. Because you're going to be, we say, let's give HR a seat in the table at the boardroom. The reason why HRs would move into COO position and chief executive officer is because they understand the business of the business. They understand the business of the business. And that's the numbers. How do we make money? How does turnover translate to, employee turnover? How does it translate to revenue as an organization? How do you increase? So if an organization sets the budget at the beginning of the year, we want to increase our revenue by 10%. Now, how does that translate into your HR strategy? It means we must recruit people, and we must recruit fast. We must recruit agile individuals. That's just simple analytics. Now, as strange as it looks, I'm not going into the nitty-gritty, but if you are the senior level HR person, you need to understand how it translates down. Then you can tell your lower level HR people, can you go and crunch these numbers for me? That's how everything translates. So middle level HR, entry level, middle level, and above. And as a matter of fact, you can dovetail into different sectors. I've told myself some time ago, why didn't I start from an investment banker? Because they make a lot of money, right? There are data analysts across the entire organization that if you learn an analytics skill, it translates across multi-economy. You're in a new economy, you're in a new geography. Maybe I used to be in Nigeria, I'm in the UK, I'm in Canada, I'm in the US, and I want to break into the job market. A knowledge of analytics can break into anywhere for you. It's almost like a playing ground. You could do data analytics, you could do data science, do data engineering, machine learning. That's where the artificial intelligence starts come. And for you to do artificial intelligence, you need to pump in a lot of data. So I can say that to a large extent, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that data is the new oil. And you need it across the HR spectrum and even outside of HR.
Thank you. You have been able to convince me and my audience. And my data has it that Imole has taken like 3 gulps of coffee or whatever is in that cup in the space of 45 minutes that we started this. Work with data. Yes, because of time, I'm supposed to allow Yetunde have another insight about this AI thing. You know, we are talking about data that Segun is really doing justice to, but I would ask you to hold your thoughts. When you're rounding up, you will give us everything. I would like to welcome questions now. Can you please share some other useful AI tools other than GPT, Chat GPT? I think one person has asked that before too. If you have question now, please, I have just like 5 minutes to take your questions, and then before we ask Yetunde to speak a little bit more on AI. So, who is it? Yesterday, are you able to answer other AI tools other than ChatGPT?
Oh, there are lots of AI tools out there. A whole lot. It depends on what you want to, what you're looking at. You know, I, for example, aside from my HR, I do a lot of creative work. When I say creative work, I do like a lot of drawing, illustration, I writing books, and
Okay.
I use images. There are a lot of AI tools you can use for that. There are a lot of AI tools you can use for animation as well. When you look at the L&D departments, when we record a lot of trainings, there are a lot of AI tools that you can use where it's someone's image and someone talking, reading through those scripts that you can use for like your onboarding, so that those words that we use to like give to like maybe like the graphics or like to department, the AI tools that would like one is intentional. It basically echoes, you give it some words and then it reads it out, and you can choose which language. So if, for example, I do a lot of reports in Power. I use Power BI, Microsoft Power BI, and my organization has branches across Canada, and in Montreal, which is very like Quebec, it's very French, and they've come with like a new policy. Like, see, if you are dealing with people in that area, you need to be able to give them things in French. So now you're thinking about beyond just your dashboard in English, you must be able to have it in French. When you think about your onboarding, you must be able to have whatever you like. As I'm speaking now, it can be translating to French. Churches are using it. I've seen a church, use it to invite people for a program where a person is speaking
Mm,
English and then they are hearing French. So like
mm.
there's a whole lot. There's I think like it's like, and there are new things every time. New things every time. I'm going to post it. I was having a conversation this week and somebody was talking about I don't know if anybody saw it on news, how somebody got an email from a CEO to say they should wire some money. And the person said, oh, let's have a Zoom meeting because how am I sure it's you? And they had a Zoom meeting and the CEO was there and some people were there. So they was like, oh, yeah, I sent you an email to wire that money. So the guy went and wired the money. I don't know how true it is. Maybe it was just a story, but I don't know. And the guy went and wired the money. And they now found out that everybody that were, even the CEO, everybody that were on that Zoom were like all fake AI stuff. So like there's the risk as well. So we're having that conversation with a group of friends, like there's a risk in it as well. But I was telling them that I'm like, honestly, there's going to be another new AI tool that will counter so that you will know that this person is actually the person that you are seeing. There's the ethical part of AI and all that, which is, I always tell people like that's also, in HR, that's also like another area that you can focus on, how like the ethical compliance and regulatory part of AI is also like a part as well that is interesting to know about. But like there are a whole lot of tools.
Thank you. Thank you, Yetunde. Wow. So there are downsides to anything, any innovation, as it's having the good side. I know there's always the other side of it. Quickly before we read the questions in the chat, I would like to have the real Imole, because if you look at Imole's LinkedIn, oh my God, if you see that picture, like Imole, show me the way. Imole cut
I
so
can
for
take
me.
that picture to the bank.
I know, right? But
Oh,
the real live Imole, not edited by AI, would ask, he has some words and some things to say
all
for us
right.
about this course.
All right. Thank you so much. Ali, I think it's been a fantastic conversation. We can't take away the reality of our world. And before I just quickly talk about the costs, I remember reading about when calculator was introduced back in the days. A lot of people were scared to take their job, to do this, to do that. That you like it or yes, AI is here to stay. Like Shego has said, your ability to really own it, your ability to understand it and leverage it will be a distinguishing factor for you. You can't, people get scared of what they don't know about, right? So move away from that fear zone to a zone of knowledge, right? And that is very important. And why have we decided to host this webinar? Number one, to educate and empower ourselves. Data literacy and analytics is becoming the core of the HR profession itself, right? These skills will allow for more strategic alignment with business goals. If you're designing HR, you're implementing anything, any people strategy that you're doing has to be informed by data. And what will this do? It will increase the impact on your organization. And that's why we have decided to put this course together, Luminous. And bringing Shego on board here and yet today is not a cliche. Shego has done this over and over and empowered, put together over 50,000 people in this space. So the idea is for you to join this process by registering for our data analytics certificate course. There are a lot of reasons why you should register, because you're going to get real life experience. You're going to get practical knowledge and practical understanding of how to leverage on AI. Now, because of our time, I won't be able to go deep into all the dimensions. Toby, if you can share the screen, that'll be fine. But fundamentally, this course is, of course, led by experts. You're going to enjoy affordable learning. It's also an opportunity to connect with a lot of people globally. So that's one of the things you have to understand. We're not coming to tell stories. In this course, it's going to give you opportunity to connect with people globally, right? In this course, you will learn how to leverage data analytics in HR and other business functions. At the same time, you would have opportunity to ask questions directly. You have opportunity to discuss real life cases and scenarios. One of the things that empowers us as HR is not just our technical competencies, but our ability to apply what we know. And in HR, I've done thousands of interviews. If you can speak the language and show you know what you know, you get any job. You get any job. That is a fact that I know. So this program is going to give you that opportunity. You are going to learn all those wonderful things. We're going to go in depth, networking opportunity, comprehensive course materials and resources. And we're also going to go through some job search strategies in this session. Now, one beautiful thing is Luminous is approved. Luminous is an approved provider by HRCI. So you see that exciting part. You also get CPD hours, meaning that if you are already a PHRI or SHR or even a CPHR, doing this course means that, you don't have to be running around for CPD hours when it's time to do it. But I guess this is one interesting thing to share with you. In the course outline, we're going to be looking at understanding data analytics, data source. We're going to be explaining explanatory data analysis. We're going to be looking at HR metrics and the analytics itself. Then we're going to be looking at different models, different machine learning models, and you're going to do a capstone project for future training. You get a badge, you get a certificate that is globally recognized. Now we can say that with confidence, that is globally recognized because you're enabling yourself. You're enabling yourself with the competencies and the capacity. And somebody is wondering, okay, how much is this cost? Now we decided to make it very affordable. We did a comparative analysis of how much others are charging for this kind of 4 weeks comprehensive course, and we're charging ours is as cheap as $300, 300 CAD. Right. So if you make an investment of 300 CAD, you get all these benefits. You get access to the facilitators. You get continuous support. And those who are looking at, I need a job, how do I navigate it? At the end, we provide job search strategy for you as well. So you might be in Nigeria, you're thinking globally, you think you want to come to Canada. We teach you how to navigate that. And we just introduced what we call the Luminous Bridging Program. If you go to our website, you'll see that the bridging program is it's a collaboration with organizations in Canada, where if you're done with this program and you want to volunteer, you want to go into through internship, there are already organizations that is partnering with us. That gives you a lot of leverage. 140 hours of volunteering, and that does the magic for you. And even if you're in Nigeria or India, you can do this virtually. And by the time you're transitioning, you are fully empowered. So, I mean, I can go on and on. Take the opportunity right now. It's $500, but we're doing it for $300 for people who catch on to it. So please follow, use the link and get registered. Somebody's asking, I'm in Nigeria, I can't pay in dollars, or it's hard for me to pay in dollars. We have decided to make it 300,000 naira in naira, right? Just 300,000 naira. That information, click the link. Somebody's going to reach out to you and give you.
Nigeria.
You are in Nigeria. No, my dear, I know 1,000%. We live like 15 minutes away from each other. Yeah, here in Calgary. So this is a good opportunity for you to take. You get CPD hours, you get badge, you get a certificate, and you have Shegun Akiyode, you know, being with you for 4 weeks. Imole and Yetunde walking you through this. Gosh, this is something you should take charge of and take opportunity of. The link is there. They're going to put the link in the chat room, and of course, information will be shared with you. Don't miss this opportunity. Investing, I mean, I don't know how much I've invested in learning. I don't know how much I've invested, and even all our panelists here. It changes the way you think, and it empowers you to go for anything you want because you've made the investment. When I got my job in Coca-Cola, I asked, why did I get a job? She said, I love the courses you chose to invest in. And one of it was data analytics. That was one of the courses I did because it changes the way you think and it empowers you to deliver excellently as an HR professional and a professional in office. So I think I'm going to stop there because of our time and hand it over back to Mo so she can round this off. And then, of course, you know, we can take questions and all of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Imole. So please, at no point in time should you say Imole has not done anything for you. This is a gift. At no point in time would you say Essie has not done anything for you, or Mo or Yetunde has not done anything for you. This information that you have gotten, because information is key, because that's what drives knowledge, and knowledge is power. You know, you have it all here. We are officially done with the webinar because we say it's 9 to 10 and it's already 10, but we would have questions answered. We don't want to like water your mouth and then we'll not put anything in it. Before we take the questions, I have to
sorry, Mo. So sorry. I know you have to go. I have to quickly clarify something. We are I know people are reaching out to me to say, hey, are you going to help us come to Canada? Let me clarify. Luminous is not helping anybody to come to Canada. What we are doing is we are creating an enabling environment and opportunity for you to learn in this context, but also, should you want to volunteer, you meet the requirements, you can volunteer here in Canada. We're not an immigration organization. We're a registered organization in Canada. We are certified to provide this education, but we recognize the strive and the stress our people go through, especially getting a job in Canada. So we've added that added value to enable people understand the culture and context and know how to navigate to make their journey easier. So I hope that clarifies that part. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the clarification. It's really necessary. If you pull the data of how many people have been scammed as a result of mediums like, oh, just come for this training, and then once you come in, you can be sure you will get a job. It's good to clarify. I have Uju's hand raised, Yvonne, Uju, and one more person. But I have in the chat someone, we are officially done, but we can wait behind for questions and we have it answered. We have just like 11 minutes to do that so that we can go about our businesses for today. There's one, Olive Godwin says that there are some AI courses like ALX. See, it's okay. We all the time use YouTube. We go to learn, how can I do this? How can I concatenate? How can I do, you know, all those basic things. But the one thing is the human connection that differentiates you from taking some things on YouTube and just learning. I've been privileged to be in one of the Luminous classes, and is a different kind of experience entirely. You know, usually when you go for classes, they provide you slides and the facilitator is reading through the slide and explaining. We don't use slide here, you know, like from beginning to the end, you have practical example which you can relate with. We have done a lot of degrees. We have gone to, some of us have BSc, MBA, all these titles and all of that. Enough of all those bookie and all of that. Do the practical thing. You are coming for an AI data analytics class. You are doing the real thing. You have work, hands on deck. You are not just reading slide and all of that. Of course, we have sometimes to help you navigate what you're doing, talk about, but it's a practical kind of experience. That is it. And then you have connection and human touch to it. Yvonne, your hand is still raised. Please, can I take your question? Can you unmute?
All
Yes.
right. Yes. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yvonne. I felt compelled to ask a critical question, although it's a little personal to me. I tried to explain my background on the chat. I am coming from the opposite end. I know most of us here are HR professionals and who are